Welcome back. You're still watching Nile Article, and I'm honored to be having with me for the first segment for tonight is Ambassador Medhat Meligy, the former Assistant Foreign Minister and the member of the Egyptian Council for Foreign Affairs. Thank you very much, Mr. Ambassador, for being with us tonight on Nile Article for the very second episode.
Actually, I'm really honored to be on the second episode ever of Nile Oracle. And I think congratulations are in order for the new studio. It's really something really good compared to the other studio. I hope that we are going to have a shift in the programs that we are showing our viewers. I'm really proud to be with you today on the second episode ever. And let's go.
Yeah, this is the first episode for us tonight.
Actually, yes.
The new studio.
True.
So we'll be celebrating this during the course of the episode of Nile Article for tonight. However, we'll be starting with a report about the latest developments regarding the U.S.-Iranian negotiations and the memorandum of understanding that was signed for a 60-day truce or a 60-day ceasefire. What will happen next? What about the efforts of Egypt to be prolonging this truce and this ceasefire for more security and stability in the Middle East? Stay tuned for the upcoming report. For decades, the Middle East has been defined by the recurring conflicts, shifting alliances, and the external interventions that have repeatedly reshaped the regional balance of power. Yet, the recent military confrontation involving Israel, Iran, and the United States may represent more than another chapter in the familiar cycle. It has prompted the broader strategic reassessment across the Arab world, raising the fundamental question: are the Arab states moving beyond managing crises toward building a comprehensive and coordinated regional security order? The answer increasingly appears to lie in the evolution of the Arab diplomacy itself. Rather than responding individually to the successive emergencies, Arab capitals have intensified the political consultations and the strategic coordination. From Cairo and Riyadh to Abu Dhabi, Amman and Doha, dialogue has become a center instrument for containing tensions, preventing regional escalation, and preserving stability in the increasingly volatile geopolitical environment. At the heart of these discussions remains Gaza. The conflict has not only generated an unprecedented humanitarian catastrophe, but it also reinforced the conviction among the Arab governments that the unresolved political disputes inevitably become regional security challenges. Consequently, diplomatic efforts have focused simultaneously on securing the humanitarian axis, supporting ceasefire initiatives, preventing the expansion of hostilities, and reaffirming that a just and lasting settlement of the Palestinian cause remains indispensable to achieving durable peace throughout the region. Beyond Gaza, significant political developments are unfolding across the Arab landscape. Lebanon continues a difficult search for the political consensus and the institutional stability amid severe economic pressures. Syria has gradually resumed engagement with the Arab neighbors after years of diplomatic isolation, reflecting the pragmatic assessment that the regional dialogue may offer more effective pathways to stability than prolonged disengagement. These parallel developments illustrate the broader shift toward addressing regional challenges through the political engagement rather than the perpetual confrontation. This emerging approach is also influenced by the profound transformations in the international system. Global competition among the major powers has introduced new uncertainties regarding security guarantees and the strategic priorities. As the international attention is increasingly divided among the multiple global crises, Arab governments recognize the importance of strengthening the regional capabilities and reducing dependence on the external actors. Strategic autonomy has therefore become an increasingly prominent objective within the Arab policy making. Within this context, Egypt has consistently advocated the principle that the Arab security is indivisible. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has repeatedly emphasized that the security of each Arab nation is inseparable from the security of the wider Arab region. This concept extends beyond traditional military cooperation. It encompasses the political coordination, intelligence sharing, counter-terrorism efforts, economic resilience, energy security, and the protection of the critical infrastructure. It reflects the understanding that the contemporary threats are interconnected and therefore require collective responses. This vision is gradually taking shape through expanding diplomatic mechanisms and institutional cooperation. Arab leaders have intensified the consultations on the regional crises, maritime security, border protection, food security, cyber resilience, and the growing risks posed by the non-state armed groups. While these discussions remain at different stages of the implementation, they collectively indicate a growing willingness to institutionalize cooperation rather than relying solely on the bilateral arrangements or the emergency diplomacy. Nevertheless, considerable challenges remain. Divergent national priorities, unresolved regional disputes, and the continued influence of the external powers continue to complicate the efforts toward greater strategic unity. The persistence of the armed conflicts, humanitarian crises, and competing geopolitical interests demonstrate that constructing the comprehensive Arab security architecture will require sustained political commitment, mutual confidence, and institutional development over many years. Yet, despite these obstacles, the trajectory appears increasingly significant. The prevailing discourse across much of the Arab world is shifting from the crisis response towards strategic planning. The emphasis is moving from temporary understandings to longer-term partnerships, from reactive diplomacy to preventive engagement, and from fragmented national policies toward broader regional coordination. Whether this evolution ultimately produces a fully integrated Arab security order remains to be seen. Welcome back. You're still watching Nile Oracle. Ambassador Medhat Meligy, as we did see for the past report, the conflict between the United States, Israel, and Iran has shaped a new Middle East, a new Arab world order. How do you see this new Middle East after the conclusion of the Memorandum of Understanding, or implementing its shifts, at least that we have seen, to be delaying the nuclear facilities, or to be delaying the nuclear project of Iran, to be easing the traffic in the Strait of Hormuz by Iran and by Oman as well? Those important agreements through the ceasefire, through the Memorandum of Understanding, what after it? What will be next to it?
Well, that's the whole idea. Actually, you asked something that we are supposed to be talking about it for the next 30 years at least. So the idea, in short, is that, of course, there are several facts that has been revealed because of the war and not because of the Memorandum of Understanding.
Yes.
So first of all, we have an emerging new power in the region, which is Iran. We have to acknowledge the fact that Iran came out of this war, although weaker military, but stronger politically. And we've seen this in the Memorandum of Understanding, that many of the Iranian conditions were met by the United States, by President Trump. He, at some points, even defended the Iranian point of view, as we've seen when a reporter asked him about the missile program of Iran.
Yes.
And he answered in a very clear way that every country has missiles, and Iran is no different than any other country in the region. So it's understandable that Iran has this missile program, although before that it was totally a different tone when we were talking about the ballistic capacities of Iran, and that it should be eliminated and so on, according to the Israeli wishes, of course. So the most important thing I see right now is that we have a new Middle East, and this new Middle East have to take into consideration new alliances and new facts. One of the new facts that we have discovered, that we cannot indefinitely depend on the United States to secure the region.
Yes.
The Arab countries cannot outsource their security needs all the time. They have to understand that they have to depend on themselves. And if they have to depend on any foreign country, it should not only be the United States. We've seen Saudi Arabia, for example, signing a memorandum of understanding and even a treaty in a certain way with Pakistan. In revenge also, we can see that the United Arab Emirates have signed a similar treaty with India in order to balance the situation, as we see some kind of rivalry between between Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates.
Yes.
So now there is a new formation of a new Middle East, and this new Middle East should be, I mean, we should take the initiative and start trying to formulate, not wait for the circumstances to dictate how it should be formulated.
Why can't we have the same agreements between the Arab states, between the Arab world, according to the statements and the suggestions by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi?
Well, actually, because, I mean, let's be very blunt about it, because not all the Arab countries have the same vision. We've seen that the vision of Saudi Arabia and Egypt are a little bit different than the one of the United Arab Emirates. Each country has its own vision of its own security and how it should be handled, and this is creating different perspective of how things should evolve in this matter. One of the new discoveries or the new vision that we are having in the region is that the Arab countries are not as united as they seem to be. And this is, although we don't like it, but it's a fact that we have to deal with. That's why I think that maybe the most important thing that I can say tonight is that I think we have to see the emerge of a new coalition between Egypt and Saudi Arabia and those who are thinking the same way. Okay, because it's time for us to take in our hand our own future. We should not wait for other countries to decide for us. And I believe that why do they mention Egypt and Saudi Arabia? I think it's quite obvious. Even have the expertise, the military power, as we always talk about the balance in external politics. And Saudi Arabia is one of the pillars of the Islamic world, of the Arab world, and of course it's one of the most advanced countries in the field of energy, and is trying to build also a technological future through its institutions and so on. So I think those two countries which are thinking alike, and this is the most important thing, who have the same external policy and see and have maybe an identical vision towards the outside world beside those two countries. And I think that if we are going to succeed into creating this coalition in a stronger way, many countries will follow that and help to reshape the new Middle East according to our national security needs, and not according to any other regional power in the area. Let's not forget that there are not all the countries in the region are Arab countries, and not all of them share the same point of view that we are sharing right now. So it's imperative that we start to take the initiative, and the moment is now, because we cannot depend solely on external powers to regulate and to secure the Middle East.
For the past couple of days, we have seen President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi inaugurating the new headquarters of the state's strategic headquarters in the new capital, the Octagon. And within the statements of President al-Sisi, he said that the Arab national security is indivisible. What is the importance of the timing of those statements regarding not just the Egyptian national security, but that the Arab national security is a part and parcel of the Egyptian national security?
Well, first of all, I will speak about Egypt, and then we will spread from there to speak about the region. In what concerns Egypt, I mean, we should not forget the declarations that we heard a few months ago about the Greater Israel. I think this is very alarming. If this is the thoughts of the government of the extreme right, I believe that it's not a mistake or a tongue twist when the American ambassador to Israel said that he doesn't mind that Israel would seize the lands of all these Arab countries involved.
Yes.
He is representing a policy of a state that happens to be the most powerful military state in the world, and I didn't hear any recommendation to these declarations made by Mike Huckabee, the Israeli ambassador, the American, actually he's the Israeli ambassador, yes, to be honest, but let's call him the American ambassador to Israel.
Yes.
And this has not been taken seriously, but I believe that they are taking seriously. When you have a soldier from the IDF having the map of Greater Israel attached to his arm through day and night, wearing his uniform, this is not something that is just a hypothetical dream. No, this is an ambition to be achieved.
It's in the creed of them.
And Egypt, that's why, I mean, many times people were wondering why Egypt is always taking care of its military and why we have to arm ourselves to the teeth like that as much as we can. Why did we become one of the 10 greater armies in the world? Why? Because we cannot wait for someone else to defend our country.
Yes.
And if these are the thoughts of the expansionist country of Israel, then we have to be careful not to allow this to happen. Because the minute that we are weak, I believe that many will try to jump in this area. Egypt is the only secure place in the region, and if we look at the map, it's very simple to see whether we're talking east, west, south, even north. We can see that there are people who are looking to Egypt. So just to keep our country safe requires a strong army, and that's what we are doing. Not to attack anyone, but to be able to defend ourselves when we are asked to defend our country.